years ago, I was telling the government of Uganda and the governments in Africa that instead of backing their reserves, their currency reserves in the central bank, with $1, which is a piece of paper with graphics on it, they should use gold. They should mine their own gold and put it in the central bank. Now, they are saying, yes, that's what they are going to do. But guess what? A few weeks ago, Bank of Uganda, we were having a discussion about this. And they said that white people have said to them, yeah, it's a good idea. Because we also reserve our money with the gold. But we want to keep your gold in Europe. They want Uganda's gold kept where? They want Uganda's gold kept in Europe. There was a country called Venezuela. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes.
They kept their gold in Britain. A lot of gold. Now, Britain wanted to steal the gold. So what they did, they went and picked a guy on the street called Wayne Guaido. And they said, you are the president of Venezuela. And Venezuelan says, but how come? We have not even elected him. We don't even know that man. They said, no, this is the president. And all the European countries recognized him. And after that, then they said, when Guaido, sign off Venezuelan gold so that you give it to Britain, and that's what happened, and Venezuela lost its gold. I'm telling you, if you want a thief, if you want a robber, if you want a murderer, if you want a hoodwinker, if you want a bamboozler, you are looking at white nations, these white countries, these white governments. That's what they are. They only survive by stealing. They have no other resource other than to steal. That's what they have. What is the natural resource of England? A little bit of gold, of oil in the North Sea, and coal, a little bit of coal, and some Irish potatoes. They're actually not Irish, they are Mexican. But when they came to Ireland, after the potato famine, they started calling them Irish potatoes, but they were from Mexico. That's what Britain has. But Britain used to be a major industrial power. How was it paying for the industry and the labor? Through a British pound. It's cheap. It lies that that pound represents gold, because the pound means a pound of gold. But there's no gold they give you. So they have no resources. And I know you as Ugandans, people in Uganda, you probably think you are worse off, don't you? You probably think that, every time I meet most Ugandans, they are complaining, especially if they live in the city. They are complaining about rent, they are complaining about food, about transport. You are a generation of complaints. That's what you are doing. And you are also entitled. You are entitled to university. Most of I have that students now, when the secondary school or the whatever cooks bad food, they ban the school. Can you imagine? The portion is not good, we ban it. Now let me give you an example. In Zimbabwe, a medical doctor in Zimbabwe earns $200 a month. 200. I know here they earn how much? They earn like $1,000? A medical doctor? Huh? Is it not like 4 million? More than. In Zimbabwe, $200. And the apartment in Harare that the doctor will rent is $700. A policeman in Zimbabwe earns about $150. A teacher earns about $70, $80. That is about less than 300,000. Huh? Yes. But he has to pay transport. Now let me tell you about transport. I am doing business in a place called Baramanya. Out of Harare, it is 150 kilometers. In a place called Chinoi, from Chinoi to Baramanya is about 20 kilometers. You can stand on the road for 9 hours. No taxi, no Uber, no bus. 9 hours. When the taxi shows up, it is a small Vitis. You know Vitis? Yes. Yeah. And 14 people sit there. The people who are sitting in the back, in the booth, their legs are swinging on the road. In Zimbabwe, breakfast is $30. That's 100,000. An egg, some coffee, and maybe a little bit of bread. In Zimbabwe, lunch, like you go now here, I don't know what the names of these places, lunch is $70. About 280,000. But remember, you earn 200. Huh? And you spend per lunch $270. So your salary can only buy you like 2 lunches if you're a medical doctor. Huh? This is not an imagination. I live there. Huh? So this is Zimbabwe. But yet, and in Zimbabwe they don't have villages. The villages, they call them kumushas. They are so brainwashed that if you come from a village, they look at you as if they're about to vomit. They don't have a village. The land is there. They have a lot of land. Zimbabwe is 3 times the size of Uganda. Yet it has a population of 14 million. And they hate their country so much they don't even have a national currency. They hate it. Anything Zimbabwean, they don't like. The most powerful person there is somebody who has a degree, who is an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, like that. And everybody wants to go to France, to Germany, to Italy, to all those places. During Easter holidays and Christmas holidays, the few people who are in the village, they come to the city. So, would you like to live in Zimbabwe? You can come and visit me. Come and stay. I can get you a job. Huh? And they don't complain, by the way. No. They are happy. Oh, by the way, the other thing. In Zimbabwe, if you're a businessman like me, the bank can only give you per day $1,000. That's what you can withdraw from the bank. Per day. And they can't allow you to take any money outside the country. You have to apply to the Reserve Bank. And when you apply to the Reserve Bank, after a long time, they can only allow you to exit with $2,000. That's $7 million. You understand that? Let me tell you another country where I do business. Zambia. Zambia is also 3 times the size of Uganda. It's about 360,000 square miles. Its population is 19 million. Zimbabwe's population is 14 million. 90% of that live in the city. Yeah? Zambia, 19 million. But about 18 million, 18 and a half live in the cities. Lusaka, Kolwezi, Livingstone, Victoria Falls. Huh? In Zambia, the bank will only give you per day $10,000 if you're a business. If you're an individual, $1,000. That is your money. Your money in the bank. It's yours. But you can't take it out. You can't withdraw it. Huh? In Zambia, you can travel 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers. You don't see a shop. You don't see a supermarket. You don't see anybody selling anything on the side of the road. Nothing. And they have got one season. The rest is heat and sun. They have got these international companies mining copper. But the citizens never see the copper. In Zambia, if you have a girlfriend and you buy her a dress, my friend, you are a very important man. Now, in Zambia, they give you free land. You don't even have to buy. These people who are fighting each other for land, bring them to Zambia and give them any of you student group if you want. I'll give you 10 square miles of land in Zambia. You don't have to pay for it. Don't think of only Uganda. Uganda, we are a small country and we have a big population. People will fight for decimals. In Zambia, a chief, if you take him a posho, posho in Zambia, they call it insima. By the way, I didn't tell you, the food of Zimbabwe, where somebody visits you and you know that they have given you food, is posho. Yes. They call it saza. The languages are almost the same. They call it saza. And on the funeral of an important man, they eat saza and cabbage. Yeah. So, if you want to die and be buried properly, go to Zimbabwe. You shall eat cabbage on your funeral. But don't tell the Zimbabweans that help. Now, in Zambia, it's also the same. They have a lot of land. They don't till the land. They abandon the land. And all these multinationals, they get all the products and take them outside. So if you are in Zambia, it is a truck after truck after truck after truck taking copper to Mozambique, to South Africa, or to the border in Tanzania. The rest of the food that Zimbabwe buys, it comes from outside. It comes from Tanzania, it comes from Zambia, it comes from Malawi. There is nothing to admire about Zambia if you are Uganda. The only thing you can admire is you can get land. There, a king, white people call him a chief, we call him king, yeah, can write a document and give you a square mile of land. And you need to take him some bag of posho and some cooking oil and maybe a little bit of a shirt. And you get a square mile. Now, you Pan-Africans, what are you doing here? Eh? Go and get land. Because if you produce maize there, it's a lot of money. By the way, a kilo of maize in Zimbabwe is like 60 cents. That's $1 is 3,700. So it's about 2,500. It's almost here. But a kilo of meat is about 40,000 and 50,000. So if you rear cows, because the land is there, and produce maize, you don't have to bother about wealth. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Yes. Now, let me tell you South Africa. You know, as a Pan-Africanist, I started after ANC and Mkondo wa Siswe and Winnie Mandela. South Africa, there are places in South Africa where the police puts a sign and says, kidnap area, don't stop. The police is saying, this is a kidnap area, don't stop here. Those of you who follow football, how many of you follow football? Football. Yeah. I know that one of the tragedies of Africa is these so-called football teams from Europe. You are so obsessed with these teams. Me, I lived in Manchester, England. I traded all across Britain. I ran an organization that had 50 chapters and 50,000 people. I never saw a single black person go to see Manchester United playing some stupid team like Liverpool. What do you want in Liverpool? Do you have a cousin there? Do you have shares in Liverpool? Are you married to somebody who works for Liverpool? And you're saying, but since you who? Eh? That they have defeated us. You who? Are you a shareholder? Are you and people ask you, what is your team? Who do do you mean what is my team? Yeah, it's Uganda Cranes. But Manchester, some places like Bolton Wanderers. Bolton is a small village, it's not even the size of Nkumba. And you sit there saying, I follow them. Follow them to do what? Who can kick a football? When we were young, we used to play football. Arsenal, you wear teams, you take their merchandise. You sisters, I have hope in you. If your boyfriend tells you that he follows Arsenal, just walk out, tell him to go, leave. Get out of the door. I don't want to see you now. Go away. Instead of sitting there, thinking, strategizing, planning, gaming, looking at what you could do, what business you could start, what manufacturing, what factory, whatever. You are there that you are watching Real Madrid. Most of you can't even put Madrid on the map. Do you know Real Madrid? Yes. Where is it? That you don't owe anything to anyone in terms of history and in terms of what you've achieved. I'm also telling you that Uganda as a nation, where we are now, if you people read your cards right, you can dominate the whole world. Because, I'm telling you this not because I'm Ugandan. Me, I'm a Pan-African. But I tell you, what I've seen in South Africa, people who look like me in South Africa, they don't want to work whatsoever. They don't think of business, they don't think of nothing. They think of grants from government. There are places the reason I was asking you about football is because you've heard of Mamelodi Sundown, the team? Yes. Mamelodi is a big township. The township is almost half the size of Kampala. But in Mamelodi, during the day, a car can come and stop there. A person comes with a gun, shoots 7 people, gets in the car and leaves. If they start the shooting, you look the other way. If you stay there and say, hey, you are really shooting that person, they shoot you too. So when they start shooting, you pretend, hoping the bullet is not going to come to you. And you can't report to police. Now, I know one of the things you talk about in Uganda is corruption. You don't know what corruption is. You never seen corruption. In 2008, when they say the financial world collapsed, do you know what happened in 2008? What they call subprime mortgages. You have all these banks, big banks in America. They were giving loans to people who could not afford them. So they come and see you, you have finished university, you probably got a job, and you are earning, say, let's say $500. They give you a house of $10 million. And you say, but I can't afford it. They say, don't worry, just sign here. Then they put it as a debt. Now they get all these debts, student loans, because in America, a student loan can go up to 1 billion Uganda shillings. So a person finishes university with a loan of 1 billion, and they repay it for the whole lifetime. I know 2 captains in America, 2 captains who drive planes, and they work in a fast food restaurant to make ends meet. In America, you can eat debt of 200 years ahead. They don't care whether you're going to live. They say, but I want to live 200 years. They say, why don't you trust yourself? Have some belief. Yeah? You could make it. Yeah? 200 years. You know, there are a lot of people who do 200 years. So, they got all these debts and put them together in a basket and created what they call a CDO, collateralized derivative option. They got the insurance, AIG, to rate them and give them AAA rating as government bonds, similar to government bond. And they sold them to international investors. One newspaper article led to the collapse of most banks that were doing this corruption. Now their corruption destroyed the whole bank. I have already told you one corruption, the biggest corruption is where we give them our goods and they give us a piece of paper which they print on a computer. And and we think that's international trade. Everywhere you hear the words international, replace that word with white. Because if there's an agreement between Uganda and Kenya, they say, that's a bilateral agreement. But if Belgium has an agreement with Spain, they say that's an international agreement. You must learn to decipher these words and not to fall by them. If you hear they say, you know what, this is an extremist, you should not protest and say, no. If they say, Kihura Nkuba, he's an extremist, I say, yeah. These are extremely bad conditions. You need to be an extremist. And they say, he's a radical, yeah. These are different times. They need radical actions. So, they say corruption so that you hate yourself. They say corruption so that you hate your leadership. Faith. Because most of the people that you see, like, you know these organizations? Oxfam, you know Oxfam? You've heard of Oxfam? Yes. You have heard of the Save the Children? Yes. We call it Save the Children and Kill the Adults. What type of person would come in a village and say, I want to save the children? Then what happened to the adults? UNICEF. They all set up to create jobs to keep white people at the top. When they come to this country, they don't know what they are doing. You are going to meet them after you finish university. They will learn from you. They will ask you to write a report and then put their name on it. Uganda attained its political independence. But it was only a flag independence. The biggest independence is when you control these four elements. Now please, remember them and write them down. Politics. Politics is the control of power. Economics is the control of money, or the control of wealth. If you control economics, you control wealth, then you have to control money. Religion is the control of fear. Sociology is the control of processes of socialization. And the military is the control of force. The military is the control of force. Religion is the control of fear. Sociology is the control of processes of socialization. Finance or economics is the control of money. Right now, we don't control the money. Because the biggest money that we use, that we value ourselves on, is not the money that we print. It's not the money that we make. It is somebody else's money. You must fight to reduce something called hard currency. And quite important, when it comes to the control of money, most of you don't know money. Money has got an energy. Every time you put money in your pocket, money thinks it's going to be there for a long time. But now you run. You want to give it to this person to buy shoes. You want to give this person to buy this. Then the money says, I am not going to go. What's your name, my brother? Eh? Speak up. I can't hardly hear you.
My name is Mwanje.
Mwanje. It says, I want to go to Mwanje. If he gives us, he takes us to Nakanjago to buy a drink. I'm not going there. The money must remain in your pocket at least for 3 months. At most forever. All of you are getting enough money. You think it's not enough. But you hate money so much you want to spend it. Black people don't know how to control money. Black people think money is for spending. No. Money is for keeping. Most rich people, wealthy people that I know, have one shirt or two and one pair of shoes. If you have more than one pair of shoes, you are not going to get rich. I'm telling you. You want me to tell you how to get rich? Because I've been rich and I've been poor. Believe me, rich is better. Yeah. So, what you study now university is just to pass exams and then show up with a piece of paper looking for a job. Some of you study development studies. Then you are looking for a job. I say, what did you study? Development. Why don't you develop? You study development studies, you are now looking for a job. How does that work? You should go to your village and develop it. Some of you are electric engineers, yet you sleep in darkness. What did you study? I studied light. It's a waste of time. All of you, when you stand at the university, what university are you from? UCC Sorot. How many students? 700. That's few. Is anybody from UCC Soroti? How many students does UCC Soroti have? How many? 700. Okay, thank you. Sorry for doubting you. But I doubt every student. Now, listen to this. What you are studying now is not education. No, it's miseducation. And you are also studying sitting education. You started in primary sitting. You went in high school, even in the nursery you are sitting. You went in primary, you are sitting. You went in secondary school, you are sitting. High school sitting. Now you are also sitting. You wake up in the morning to go and sit. If you find somebody has sat on your chair, you fight. You sat on my chair, you. This is where I sit. Then the lecturer comes and says, what's the problem? You say, this is my chair, but he's sitting on it. It is sitting education. It is sitting, eating, sometimes sitting, drinking, and maybe sleeping. Nothing else. Tell me it's not true. Education must be for one thing, production. Production means something that you can hold and drop on your feet. If you are producing a service, that's nonsense. Something you can drop on your feet. Your parents had more education than you. Some of you don't even have a single car or a boat. But you invent all these ways to go home and say, you see, they have asked us for this special book. It's so special that it costs like $1.5 million. Sitting, eating, drinking, sleeping, sometimes singing education. Yet, all of you who don't produce anything, you want to eat breakfast. You want to eat lunch. You want to eat supper. And you complain when the lunch is not good or the portion has weevils, as if you grew the beans. Mu Luganda tukiyita enkumbi kumenyekera omulawo. Emulawo is a ledo. Because the whole goes in the field. Yeah, you sleep in education. That man is sleeping there. I told you. This is proof that it's a sleeping education. Enkumbi is a hole. It goes in the field and digs and gets stones and gets dirt. When it comes home, they don't put it in the house. They leave it outside. When they serve food, look at how the ladle jumps from the cupboard in a clean piece of cloth and sits there. And it is the one that serves the food. So you are a mirawo, you. The people who don't produce are the people who eat most. Globally, like white people produce nothing, they produce no food. But they eat a lot. The whole world would eat better if there were few white people. Because they eat everything we produce. And you export. Oh. So, now, let's establish certain things. There are key areas that you must do, things you must do if you have to be successful. Number one, you don't have to sleep. That's number one. I'm joking. Number one, you must make sure that by 4:30 in the morning you are awake. 4:30 in the morning you are awake. I don't know any successful person who is asleep at 4:30. You wake up at what time? At 4, sometimes 3. No, she's telling the truth. This is a truthful woman. You should never doubt a black woman when she's number one. 4:30, you must be awake. Better if you wake up at 3, because the body produces melanin at 3. If you are awake, you are lucky. At 3 o'clock. Yeah? So, number 1 is when you wake up. Number 2, you must produce something every day. Produce. Even if you make a key holder, even if you make you must produce, and by produce, I mean something you can drop on your feet. You understand? Must produce. Number 3, you must do what we call gaming in your head. Gaming. If you want to achieve something, you have to game it. For example, if you want to start a business, what business would you start? You don't look at her. I'm talking about you. You don't believe you can. What business would you start? Most women that I have met who want to start a business, the first thing they say, they want to start a salon. Now when I meet a woman who has finished the university and she wants to start a salon, I'm thinking, why didn't they cut off her head when she was at the university? How do you finish the university and you want to start a salon? Even Nanyondo in the village, she also wants to start a salon. Imagine you coming to your father and say, now I have finished the university in Nkumba and at Macherere, I want to start some business. I want to start a salon. And normally they put the salon in the shop where the first salons closed. That's the one they look for. Surprisingly, most of you have got very good hair. I don't see people with fried hair. Huh? Or other people's hair. Like I met an Indian outside the gate. She's looking for that hair you are wearing. The Indian. She says somebody stole her hair and she described it and it fits your description. Why you black women? Why do you want other people's hair? What's wrong with your own hair? Yeah? And then you go hustling these men that you want money for hair. Don't give it. I am now giving you an excuse. You can tell your girlfriend, Professor stopped us. He said we should not. And I will tell you why. Listen, I will tell you why. Because hair, black people's hair is made of keratinized cells that are linked together by what they call polypeptide links. Black people's hair is so strong that in biology they call it kinky hair, peppercorn hair, or even Jesus hair, because in the Bible they say Jesus had hair like lamb's wool and as sweet as black as burnished bronze. That is, I think, in Revelation 14, 1 to something. Now, to reduce this strong black hair, black people's hair, which is known as woolly hair, to dog's hair, because white people's hair is known as dog's hair or horse hair. To reduce, they use strong chemicals called relaxers. The active ingredient of a relaxer is a chemical called hydrogen peroxide. It's an industrial chemical used to take horns of animals. Most importantly, Emory University did a study where they showed that fibroids in women are caused by relaxers that black people, particularly black people, put in their hair. So don't give that woman any money to go and fry her hair and cause fibrostitopedia, the unusual accumulation of fat on the black woman's behind, so when she's walking, flowing like this. Listen. Yes. because of your melanin, you black women, every woman in the world wants to look like you. Every white woman wants to look like a black woman. They wear dark stockings so they can have your flawless, gorgeous, unlimited leg. They put on cosmetics so they can have full lips ready for kissing like you are lips. They put on mantan so they can have your skin. Now they inject themselves with melatonin so that they can have the full body like you have. So it's a shame that you want to destroy that strong hair, the strong lips, trying to decorate yourself looking like good afternoon. Now there is something horrible that you have started doing. You have started bleaching. Yes. Destroying that melanin shield that makes you glow like a piece of diamond, because actually diamond is made out of the carbon that was fossilized 14 million years ago during the tectonic movement. That carbon that produces diamond is what you have on your skin, black woman and black man. Now you want to destroy that. Black men never look at a woman who bleaches. Never! Don't look at her. But now, who encourages this woman to say, you look so beautiful? Is it not you, black man? Is it not you who encourages her? Is it not you who leaves a black woman to go and look for a red skin one? It's not you? Women come to me, is it not black men that encourage you? Are they not the one to say, go and do your hair? They even take. They do it. Is it what you doing salon this? Now, listen. I was telling you what you need to be successful. I'm only talking business. I don't know any other thing. If you are not interested in business, this is not for you. But I've said, number one, you need to make sure that you wake up at 4:30. When you wake up at 4:30, the reason you are waking up at 4:30 is to think about what you are going to do the whole of that day and next day and that day. You must have at least a 3-year plan. 3-year plan. Sisters, if you have a boyfriend, when he comes, say to him, show me your 3-year plan. Day 1, day 2, week 3, 2026, 2027. If he has no 3-year plan, tell him to go back. Or you know what else you can do. But I won't tell you in this lecture. 4-year plan. This is for men and women. 4, 5-year plan. Yeah? You must think about what you are going to do over and over. For example, let's say you want to make sugarcane juice. Or you want to get sugarcane juice and make brown sugar. And then you want to sell this brown sugar. So, day 1, you are thinking it is going to cost a lot of money. But you are thinking about it. You are reading. You are going on the internet. You want to get a sugar mill to produce sugar. Or you want to first get juice. Then you learn that you can actually boil this juice because there's a lot of sugarcane in Uganda. And it costs very little money. There's also a lot of cassava. I understand now cassava costs very little money. So, you have this sugar, you now can get the juice, you can boil the juice, and you get the sugar. But that sugar is slimy. It's not crystallized. Now, by reading and thinking more about it, you now have isolated your main problem today is crystallization. How am I going to crystallize the sugar? Because once I've crystallized it, I already have a lot of sugar cane that costs less money. I have already boiled it and got a slimy sugar, but it's brown. Maybe I want it to be bright, or maybe I don't, but I want to crystallize it. Then after that, I went to package it. Those should be the discussions you are having at university. Me, I started my first business when I was 4. 4. Not making it up. You want me to tell you what business? Yes. Okwevuga. I used to recite and call a poetry at weddings. You know Okwevuga? Yes. Mbaye Okwevuga? Yes. Mwana mbaye Okwevuga? Yes. Mbaye Okwevuga chesenen? Yes. Endo yesemele kagambara hari nubwabe katerwa yashekera nubutaguruka n'nyitwazigura namubwira ntubuza mishoza kwera tugahangire seri. Owajitira kajikorongera cyaro mwira karyashuma rya kwate mugongo irindi ryatemba ryizure pango bwako bwagenda bwataha Buganda. Utesemene no kabiri ko hirezwira kabumbuzo yimwe abantu bacyaro na butaka yemwe abanyani banyamahanga. Batinanyereka wama rutega mu ngabo mwira rwetsasabye mchebeli yashashaba mwine kifunikire kibakura yashashaba itero rya zwabse. Mukwata muhamya muvigize muhesi wa Rwanda rwa Kigere na Burundi bwa Mwamutya ntoka hesira mwene zaba makamega yonga. Yizire kahire karwa ptitiba komana gena na za kusayira nyinotu ntoka siya kubukare ndibwene zaba ninksiriz. Wouldn't you have paid for me at your wedding to come and rap? Huh? So, let me tell you this. I was doing this when I was 4. Then I got money. Are you tired of me? You want me to stop? No. You want me to continue? Yes. Ha. So, in the beginning, somebody wanted to introduce me, but I said no. Right now, I am just a peasant. I never went one. I am a producing peasant. That's what I want to be introduced as. I'm not bothered about titles and what I've done. But what I know is I was doing business at age 4. From age 4 to age 7, I was making mwenge bigere. So I'd go and buy a bit a tonto. So I was doing tonto. Then I graduated from tonto to making waraji, which I sold to priests in neighboring Catholic churches because they were very good clients. And my business progressed like that. But I am known as an academic because business and money, they don't want noise. You understand? Yes. All of you must have seen people who are very rich when you are growing up that don't have money now. And in Uganda, the richest people are not people who have gone to school. Because the teacher who is teaching economics has never even sold bananas on the side of the road. Do I lie? Most of these teachers have never practiced any business. So what can he teach you? Business follows its own rules. Some of these rules is what I'm giving you. So I have said, wake up at 4:30. Give me your plan. Yeah? Yes. Start a business even when you have no money, because what they tell you is that you need capital to start a business. That is nonsense. That you need capital. You don't. You just need to find that business which you can start without using your own money.